Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days for today's video. Day 10 will take us to the 5th of February and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe it's around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 for February itself at the end of the video. I should get on that for you in a moment. Just save that first. Video release there was our 6am UK weather forecast, and we've also released January Friday as well. Check out those two vids if you'd like to do that. Like, share, subscribe on all today's videos and content. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Just say no, Friday night live stream tonight again. So I'm so sorry everybody, but I'm still recovering from the lurgy that I had this time last week. Really knocked me up for a few days, and I am a lot better, but you know, still got quite a bit of tiredness. So I'm going to have an early night again, if that's all right with everybody. But I am going to try and get the live stream back on Sunday this weekend. So if you're waiting for a live, it has been a little while since we did a live stream. If you're waiting for a live stream, then fingers crossed we're going to be able to do Sunday's live stream at 6 PM. But I should tell you about the weekend festivities on the channel at the end of the video. Let's get the video itself done. First of all, we're going to start off section temperature. The CT has now ticked up to 4.2. That is 0.4 of a degree above the 61 to 99 average. That is provisional to yesterday, the 25th of January. That's going to carry on rising. Will that get to 5.0? Will it get to 5 degrees by month's end? Going to be interesting to see where that lands. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles, excuse me, for the next couple of weeks. We're at Belfast today. The red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Belfast. So upper air temperatures are on the up now, going to become very mild again over the weekend and on into next week, into the opening days of February. You have got a bit of a decline in the upper air temperatures taking place. So later on, from the first week into the second week of February. And there are a few quite cold ensemble members, actually, particularly the control room, the GFS control room there, which kind of drops away a little bit into a freezer right at the very end. The operational room, which is the thick green line, that also goes quite cold. So maybe signs of a bit of a change here into the second week of February, but that's a long way off. It's very extended range and therefore unreliable. Precipitation-wise, could be lots of dry weather over the next few days, but next week turning more unsettled in Belfast, and then generally unsettled through the first half of February. If we go to somewhere like London, I suspect won't be anywhere near as unsettled as that. So again, look how mild it's going to be over the next week or so. Very, very mild, exceptionally mild upper air temperatures. Then there is a cooling trend going on through the second week of February. Again, most notably the operational and the control runs becoming quite cold. And precipitation-wise, looks very dry for the next week in London, and then gradually gets more unsettled as we go into the second week of February. Temperature anomalies from the 26th of January to the 3rd of February. They're coming out above average. All parts of Europe, including that, away from Greece and Turkey anyway. So a very mild week to come. And precipitation anomalies from the 26th of January to 3rd of February. Drier than average for England and Wales, but a little bit above average for rainfall, wetter than average for Ireland and also for Scotland. The latest Windflow Map from earth.nullschool.net shows that we're bringing the wind in from off the Atlantic. Again today, got an area of high pressure centred just to our southwest. Slightly cooler wind direction today, coming in more from the northern point of the Atlantic, so slightly more of a polar maritime type airstream. But the long fetched southwesters, they'll be back with us, dragging the air back up from the subtropical Atlantic before we know it. And that takes us very nicely through the chart data. So this is how the latest UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Monday. So we're drawing up a southwest wind. Got an area of low pressure developing just to our west. That could bring some quite wet weather through the early part of next week, especially to western and northern regions. And then through the middle part of next week, we strengthen the high pressure around France, Spain, Portugal, combined with the deep low pressure for polar vortex up to our north. We drag up this very, very mild long fetch southwesterly. So that's the setup for this time next week. Friday 2nd of February, and look how far from southwesterly air is originating from. So air's kind of originating all the way from the Azores, maybe in South south and west of the Azores and pushing up into northern and western parts of Europe. We might get the temperature into the mid-teens Celsius next week. I would not be ruling out 16 degrees, 61 Fahrenheit through the latter stages of next week. I can't again, drawing up that southwesterly flow on Monday with an area of low pressure potentially bringing quite a bit of rain through the early part of next week. And then we get this transition to a higher pressure to the south through the second half of next week. High pressure centred over France. Again, we drag up that southwesterly flow, so turning exceptionally mild with Icon as well through the second half of next week. The KMA is looking like this. So again, we've got that area of low pressure potentially bringing quite unsettled weather through the early part of next week. Then we get the high pressure to our south and we drag up that southwesterly flow. Eventually we try and have a go at putting in some cooler air from the north, but basically the high pressure is maintained around Spain and the Bay of Biscay. So we basically keep the wind in from a mild west-southwesterly direction. There is a little attempt there at a cooler interlude around the 4th of February, but to be honest, we just keep that high pressure anchored to our southwest up to 7th of February. The GFS midnight run, again, showing that area of low pressure bringing unsettled start to next week. Then high pressure will strengthen to our south. We go into this long fetched southwest wind. This will be moisture laden, so it will bring heavy rain to northern and western Scotland in particular. But for southern regions, there should be a lot of dry and also very mild weather. It gradually turns more unsettled as we go up toward day 10, with low pressure digging in from off the Atlantic. Winds turning into the north there at day 10, which is the 5th of February. So colder air gets into Scotland, could turn showers wintry there. However, that doesn't last very long. The next low comes in Tuesday the 6th of February, bringing more mild and unsettled weather in with it. And then we finish up with high pressure again just to our southwest. The GFS 6Z again showing that area of low pressure just to the southwest, bring potentially some very wet weather into particularly western regions through the early part of next week. Then we strengthen the high pressure to the south, so the Azores Ridge strengthens into Europe for the second half of next week. And we draw in that long fetched southwesterly wind all the way from the Azores as well. Could be an exceptionally mild end to next week. Heading up toward day 10, pressure begins to weaken to our south and lower pressure starts digging in from the north. So by day 10, 5th of February, it looks like it's turning a little bit more unsettled. And then the GFS 6Z starts to raise the heights in the North Atlantic and moves it up towards Greenland. So we start moving back into colder weather here as we get into the extended range with the GFS 6Z. Takes a while to get there, but eventually we open the doors to these much colder north-northeast winds via this blocking area of high pressure around Greenland, Iceland, and back comes my 10 cells iceberg into Scotland by Sunday. By Sunday the 11th of February. That's as far as we get to with the GFS 6M. So yes, we do see that the GFS 6M operation run is turning things colder. I can show you, if we go back here, I can actually show you the control run as well. We see how that turns things colder. So let's start at 2:40 hours. So again, we've got this is Monday 5th February. Got high pressure still to our south, but weakening. Low pressure in the Atlantic, and then we start putting in this sort of northwesterly type flow, and the heights rise around Greenland and Iceland. We get this low pressure sinking southward, becomes quite a significant flow just to our southeast. That could deliver some snow even if it came off, but the main issue is that heights rise around Greenland and Iceland. It pulls the wind into that colder northeasterly flow, and so that is how the GFS control run along with the operation run gets cold. It happens via a blocking area of high pressure in the Atlantic going up to Greenland and Iceland, and allowing the trough to dig southwards through Europe, pulling the wind into that cold north or northeast. And it looks like quite a prolonged cold spell that the GFS 6Z control run is setting up there. Both the op and the control with GFS going cold today. If you enjoyed the video, please do you like, share and subscribe. Make sure everybody for doing that. Why not drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. We need to put on around 75 subscribers to get ourselves to 17.9k. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe, that would be incredible, and we will thank you so much everyone for doing that. Okay, with GM, again, we've got this southwesterly flow on Monday, bringing mild conditions in with it through the middle and latter stages of next week. So we haven't got a little bit of a cold snap there, actually, through the second half of next week of the GM, but the high pressure still sort of maintained just around southwest, keeps most of the cold at bay, but we are turning significantly cold across much of northern Europe again through the latter stages of next week and the first weekend of February. That's how we aimed up, so looking cold across much of northern Europe there, but we're just keeping it at bay, just protected just on the periphery of it by that area of high pressure just to our southwest. And then the ECM looks like that again, got this area of low pressure bringing potentially some very wet weather into the west on Monday. Then through the middle part of next week, high pressure over France, Spain, Portugal, low pressure to the north, that drags up the southwesterly, so very mild, potentially exceptionally mild second half to next week. Pressure beginning to weaken to the south as we head towards days 8, 9, 10. Just turning more unsettled. No cold weather up to day 10 with the ECM, but turning more unsettled again as heights begin to lower to our south. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Temmeteo.com. A couple of dry days to come, and then into the weekend, this area, or late weekend, early next week, this area of low pressure brings heavy rain into the northwest. Could be a bit of hail snow about up across Scotland. Dips of drowsy rain, then moving over into the east. When we go to that southwesterly flow, so that brings heavy rain into western and northwestern regions, but south mostly dry through next week until late on. Anyway, that's the setup at day 10. So by then, just turning a little bit cold with wintry showers into northern and western Scotland, but still a lot of dry weather up to day 10 there. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensembles today for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. Gets us to the 5th of February. 23 members of the ECM Ensembles have high pressure to our south. Low pressure is across Scandinavia, so that's keeping things mild with winds in from a westerly direction. 15 with high pressure going to the south, low pressure to the north, northeast. That's keeping the wind in from the Atlantic as well. And then we've got 13 sinking this trough of low pressure in from Scandinavia. Now that's still mild, but it isn't that far from turning things colder. So the high pressure is sort of pulling out to the west, and that is close to getting the wind back in to the north again. But in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got, and it will get us to the 10th of February. 12 members of the ECM ensembles looking more unsettled with low pressure over to the north, and probably cooler as well with winds in from the northwest. We've got 11 with a mid-Atlantic ridge and a trough of low pressure to the east. That will be colder. Winds will be coming in from the north. We've got 10 with a trough of low pressure right over the top of the country, combined with a mid-Atlantic ridge. So again, that's unsettled and potentially quite cool or cold as well. We've got 9 with high pressure ridging through the Atlantic and going up towards Greenland. That's trying to get wind into a colder northeasterly, but still with a bit of a ridge over France that's trying to keep the mild weather going. And then we've got 9 with a low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and that remains mild with winds in from the west. So a range of options, but it looks like we might be starting to see the first hints here of something a little bit colder into the second week of February. Finally, CFS V2 for February. This is the latest 700 millibar height anomaly. Remember, these change on a daily basis. Today, going for a mid-Atlantic ridge and a trough of low pressure across northern Europe. So that looks really quite cold for much of northern Europe, I have to say, and about trough of low pressure, and possibly down into the east of Europe as well. For us, as ever, we're on the periphery. Well, we need to get that high pressure centre more up there, really, to open the door to those northerly winds. But we're not far away there from getting some cold northerlies. As it is, though, the temperature anomaly coming out above average, a milder than average February is predicted, and largely on the drier than average side as well, with that ridge just to our west. We shall see. Okay, we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. We thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for us. Okay, so I'll just tell you what's happening on the channel over the weekend. Now, tomorrow we've got 6am UK weather forecast, and we've got the first spring 2024 season model roundup coming up as well. There'll definitely be a 10 to 14 day. I may leave off the weekend forecast again this week. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. So at the moment, I have scaled the add-ons back a little bit, but weekend forecast is relatively easy to do. So I'll let everybody know tomorrow anyway what's happening with that. And then on Sunday, again 6am UK weather forecast, we will have the third spring update. That's rolled over from last week, which should be last week's QBO special. So I'll get that done definitely for this Sunday, third instalment of the spring updates. And as I say, I'm going to be live, hopefully anyway, fingers crossed, at 6pm, first live stream for a couple of weeks. So that'll be coming up at 6pm. I think we'll do a 10 to 14 day in that live stream probably, and we may well include Ensembles watch, have a look at some long range, all the usual stuff that we will do on a Sunday live stream. So that's a plan for the weekend. Hopefully I'm up to it. I am still feeling quite tired and fatigued of that, but I'm gradually getting a little bit better day by day. So we're on the up, I think, anyway. Next week, as I say, all the additional add-ons and everything will return. Okay, so you enjoy the rest of your Friday, and for this video, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.